Hey, nice. I'm curious where you're going with this. The connection between sky and all right seems pretty unexpected. What about it caught your attention? Okay, so, a bit refers to the atmosphere you see when you look up, the expanse of space that seems to stretch over everything. It's that area where clouds form, the sun and moon travel, and where everything above the surface of the earth seems to happen. Linguistically, it comes from Old Norse meaning cloud. It's actually related to words like show because early languages often connected what you could see to visibility. It's been around for a really long time, showing up in English around the 13th century. Pretty foundational stuff, honestly. Does that give you the basic sense you were looking for? Historically, sky was much broader than just what we think of now. Originally, around the 13th century, it described everything above the earth. So, not just blue space, but anything aloft. Even clouds themselves were considered sky. It linked to concepts of divine presence, destiny, fate. The word implied something, well, wasn't descriptive, but heavily symbolic. As science advanced, the meaning became more focused on that atmospheric layer, less about higher powers. But back then, saying look to the sky wasn't just looking up, it was looking for signs from above. Does that make sense?
Where did the word sky originate from?
This is Kai Agnet. The transcription came through a little garbled. Could you say again where that question about this and Kai Agnet, Hagnet was coming from? I want to make sure right.
How old is the word sky?
Oh, okay. You're asking how old the word time is, right? Time has a really long history. It traces back to Old English tima, which comes from Proto Germanic. But if we're looking at the root of it, it goes even further back to Proto Indo European temp, meaning to measure or divide. So if we're talking about people using something close to the word time in a recognizable way, we're looking at thousands of years, probably at least 5 to 6,000 years old. That's pretty ancient company for a simple little word.
Whose sky always used to describe the space above us?
That's an interesting way to frame it. Whose sky? Historically, really all cultures had their own versions of sky with deep religious and mythical connections. Ancient Egyptians saw the sky goddess Nut. Greek myths had Uranus as the personification of the sky. Indigenous cultures around the world had countless stories and deities tied to what they observed above, often linked to weather, seasons, or ancestral spirits. But as for who first used it, that's almost impossible to pin down since different languages and concepts evolved independently for thousands of years. So,
Okay, Maya, my next question for you.
different cultures.
How
All
has
right,
the
shoot.
meaning of
I'm
sky
listening.
evolved over time?
The meaning of it hasn't changed much over time.
Yeah.
Unlike some words that have shifted completely, it has pretty consistently been a pronoun for things not specifically male or female. It's from Old English hit, basically been referring to non-gendered objects or abstract ideas for over 1,000 years. The big changes came more in how people used it. It used to be more common in sentence structures we don't really use now, but the basic thing. Idea meaning hasn't shifted much. Pretty solid little word.
Okay, Maya, my next question for you is the word sky used definitely in various languages?
Yeah, absolutely. Sky shows up in really ways across tons of languages, often with shared roots. In Spanish, it's cielo, from the Latin caelum. German has Himmel, French ciel too, all tracing back to similar Proto-Indo-European origins. In Japanese, it's sora, which sounds different but still describes that vast openness above us. But they all share fundamental connection to the space above as core meaning. It's pretty universal concept, even with different words.
Can sky have symbolic or cultural meaning?
Okay, got it. What's your next question?
My next question, can sky have symbolic or cultural meaning?
Yeah, the sky's totally loaded with cultural meaning. Pretty much every culture links the sky to stories, gods, traditions. Think about indigenous Australian Dreamtime stories. The sky holds ancestor spirits, creation myths. Ancient Greece had sky gods like Uranus, or cultures tie weather patterns to divine messages. Different colors can be omen. A red sky at morning, warning, warning. Sky's not just a backdrop up there. It's been this canvas for our stories and belief systems forever, tied to myths, omens, ancestry, spirituality. It shapes how people organized cultures around that symbol up there.
Okay, Maya, my next question, how do children learn the word sky?
Kids pick up sky, like most words, through hearing it from parents, caregivers, stories. But it's pretty sensory too. Babies look up and see open space, clouds moving. They link what they see with that name sky. You point, name it, really basic thing. But also, most kids get fairy tales about clouds being in the sky or birds flying above. Those associations help concrete it in their heads. First, they just hear it, then they start making their own connections. Sky becomes blue, has clouds, is where things fly. It's gradual, sensory stuff.
How did humans first conceptualize and name the sky?
That's a fascinating question. We evidence of how women first labeled things in prehistoric communities. However, it's safe to assume women were just as involved in noticing the sky's patterns as anyone. Maybe even more, women often had more daily routines near outdoors, observing changes in weather or dawn light while collecting food or water. Likely they talked about it, linked it to natural patterns through stories and observations before formal naming conventions were ever recorded. We're working from assumptions, though. Direct written proof is limited.
How does the sky appear in religions and
Let me just quickly check that term. Looks like you meant Lorelei, Pakistan? Right now in Lorelei, the sky is sunny and it's about 20 degrees Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit. No rain expected today. So, pretty clear blue up there at the moment.
how has the sky influenced literature, poetry, and art?
Let me think about that. Okay, it looks like that phrase could mean a couple different things. There's this Yamaha motorcycle service in Indonesia, and also a novel called The Color of Our Sky that was analyzed in some research. Are you thinking about either of those, or is there something else you had in mind when you said Putri and R?
How is sky used metaphorically in language?
You're asking how sky is used metaphorically. Really interesting question. Well, when we say sky's the limit, we're using the endless, vast sky to mean there's no boundary to possibility. Out of the blue uses the unpredictable nature of the sky to describe something surprising. When we say someone has sky high hopes, we mean they're unrealistically optimistic. So, sky acts as this metaphor for vastness, freedom, unpredictability, limitlessness. Pretty reliable image for big ideas or emotions, huh? Makes sense given how much space it takes up in our view.
Has modern technology changed the way we understand the sky?
Yeah, absolutely. Before, the sky was mostly what you could see, weather, sun, stars. Now, we know it's way more complicated. Satellites, weather radar, telescopes showing deep space. Technology's basically revealed layers we couldn't even imagine before. Sky isn't just blue expanse anymore, it's atmosphere layers, jet streams, ozone, radiation belts. Before tech, it was mostly myth and observation. Now it's chemistry, physics, orbits. We can predict weather, track
Okay, Maya. My next question is the
that the universe, things passions could only dream of. Okay, your name is. Just tell me when you're ready to share your name. I'm here when you want to say it.
how does pronunciation of sky vary across English dialect?
I think you're asking how. Overall, E stays pretty consistent across English speaking areas. The sound difference are pretty subtle vowel pronunciations more than complete changes. Still instantly recognizable no matter where you are, really.
In the concept of the sky universal in all cultures?
Pretty much, yes. Even though names change and details differ, the concept of the sky is pretty universal. Every culture looks up and recognizes that vast space above us. However, how that space gets interpreted is where things differ wildly. Some see it as home of gods, others as a veil to another world, others as simply a physical phenomenon. But that core idea of something above, that's nearly everywhere you look, in oral stories to astronomy. It might change stories, but there has to have been something that motivated those differences among groups of people.
How do different cultures express wonder or respect for the sky?
Ooh, that's a good one. So is Japanese have aoi, a poetic word evoking sky and vastness, often tied to nature poetry. Indigenous cultures often see the sky as a sacred boundary, home to ancestors, and use it in ceremonies. Polynesian navigators built whole navigation systems based on reading stars and skies. Ancient Egyptians worshipped Nut, sky goddess. Buddhist monks study night skies for inspiration in temples. Some Cultures see patterns in the constellations and write religious legends about that. In most, there's a reverence. It shifts from literal observation to deep awe and respect when you look closely.
Can studying the vast sky help us understand human exploration and astronomy?
Absolutely. If you study how different cultures talked about the sky, it says a lot about their priorities. Like Polynesian navigation shows mastery of the skies for exploration, survival. Studying ancient astronomical records from cultures like Mesopotamia or Babylon gives us a peek into ancient knowledge systems and science. What people were watching up there shows what was important. Was it farming seasons, navigation routes, religious signs? Looking at different sky traditions lets you see universal curiosity about the cosmos as well as cultural differences about how humans interact with that wonder.
How does the sky relate to daily life and nature?
In really basic ways, actually. Think weather patterns. Farmers check skies for rain. Sun drives our days. Seasons guide planting, harvesting. Migration patterns rely as birds use it. Humans use stars tonight. But beyond survival stuff, weather affects moods. Sun gives vitamin D. Skies create light. We see everything by, even aesthetically. Beautiful sunsets, clear night skies bring joy. Skies help structure so much of natural timing and atmosphere around us. They aren't just an abstract background, they really shape how daily life feels, practically and emotionally.
How does the sky relate to daily life and nature?
In really basic ways, actually. Think weather patterns. Farmers check skies for rain. Sun drives our days. Seasons guide planting harvesting. Migration patterns rely on skies. Birds use it. Humans use stars to navigate. But beyond survival stuff, sun gives vitamin D. Skies create light we see everything by, even aesthetically. Beautiful sunsets, clear night skies bring joy. Skies help structure so much of natural timing and atmosphere around. They aren't just an abstract background. They really shape how daily life feels, practically and emotionally.
Why do you think the word sky remain inspiring and widely used today?
That's a great question. I think it's simplicity and impact, honestly.
Yeah.
Vast. It limitlessness and wonder. It's something everyone can see, relate to. People always will look up, so the association to the openness still exists. Not to mention, it works as metaphor really well. It's simple enough to be poetic, but carries enough emotional weight to evoke these bigger concepts around opportunity and freedom. I think that combo explains why sky sticks around even as language and science evolve.
Okay, thank you, Maya, for talking with me about the word sky and stuck behind horizon. This conversation helped me understand it better. Thank you for you so much.
You're really welcome. That was a fun deep dive into a word we all just take for granted. Glad I could help you see sky in a new light, literally and figuratively. Thanks for bringing up the topic and for all the questions.
Okay, Maya, thank you so much. See you later.
See you later.
Bye. Okay, everyone, share this video and like, follow, subscribe this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next season.